In this video, we are going to explore some of the forgotten supercars, extreme models of cars we already know and love, of MG Rover and Rover Group. We explore some of the stories of the prototypes and the cars that made it out of the factory and the cars that sadly ended up in the crusher. So, without further delay, this video is on the many forgotten and lost prototypes of MG Rover Part 2. If you're not subscribed already, please remember to do so. It really does help me out and you get to see more of this. We're doing absolutely incredible so far and I really enjoy researching these videos and I enjoy what you guys have to say as well. So drop a comment below what you'd like me to do next, and if you have any opinion on any of this stuff and what is your favourite of this range and which do you think would have been the game changer, if any. And without further delay, let's get into the video. One of the biggest Rover 75 mysteries was the Rover 75 Sport. Originally proposed in 1999 as a more sporty version of the Rover 75, it included many refinements that would later find themselves on the MG ZT, introduced 2 years later. This car had many tweaks: sportier suspension, new alloy wheels, styling changes, most notably the half leather seats and mesh grille. This was a styling concept to take the Rover 75 on a different path, but sadly this was not meant to be, and with the sale of MG and Rover to the Phoenix 4, the project is believed was then carried over into the MG Z car range and ended up becoming the MG ZT. But what happened to the cars? There were two produced: T339 JOP, which escaped the defunct MG Rover in 2005, and went on to have MOTs up until 2010, when it simply fell off the radar, never to be MOT'd again. The original car pictured is W209 LOE. There aren't any electronic MOT records and no records of this car to be found. This car, unfortunately, is assumed scrapped and its location unknown. The MGF, as we all know, was one of the most successful cars to be produced by Rover Group. Once one of the most popular roadsters in the UK, is now a footnote in British motoring history. But there was another version proposed, the MGF Super Sports, known internally as the EX254, and later on the Super Sports 2. The original Super Sports was a design study for the Geneva Motor Show in 1998. Being developed in just 3 months, the car was a fully functioning car, apparently equipped at the time with a 1.8 litre supercharged K-Series engine, sporting 200 brake horsepower. AP racing brakes were fitted, uprated race spec suspension in its usual mid-engine configuration. The interior was fully bespoke, white leather with red accented stitching. Styling wise, there were a few more changes, most notably the Spider style windscreen, new spoilers and diffusers, as well as new bumpers for improved aerodynamics and a good helping of max power. 2 years after the reveal of the Spider style Super Sport, a more traditional MGF Super Sports, the Super Sports 2, was developed and shown at the Geneva Motor Show in 2000. This was hoped to be the production-ready version of the Halo model MGF. However, this project met a similar fate to the rest of the Halo, MG and Rover models and was eventually abandoned. What happened to the cars? With the fall of MG Rover in 2005, MGX Power Sport and Racing also went into administration. Following this, a public sell-off commenced. MG Sport and Racing were the official owner of both Super Sports, so naturally these went under the hammer as well. The Super Sport 1, the Spider version, ended up in a private collection after being sold at auction. It was, however, fitted with a non-supercharged 1.8 VVC K-Series and ended up selling in May of 2007 for £13,526. The Super Sport 2 had a colour change by MG and was registered under the reg Romeo 677 ROF and had a 1.8 VVC engine as well. The original black and red colour scheme was gone and the car was changed to chroma flare green with a green leather interior. In 2005, this was then sold for £15,950 and got sold again in 2012. MGX Power was the brand formed by MG Rover to take MG's sporting heritage to the next level. With a Le Mans debut, all that was needed was to turn up the heat on the already current MG Z car range to the point it became, well, X-rated. Several cars were proposed, one of the most notable, the MG ZRX. Arriving in May of 2004 at the MG Rover stand, the MG ZRX was the hot version of the MG ZR, a new splitter, 18-inch wheels, and it was sporting an MGX Power badge at the helm with a new exhaust, modified cylinder heads, resulting in the range-topping MG ZR at the time producing 180 brake horsepower, with a 20 brake horsepower increase from the current range-topping ZR 160. It was proposed after the initial variants went on sale, more powerful versions would follow, using a K-series bored out to 2 litres, producing 210 and 250 brake horsepower respectively, with engines built by race specialist Engine Developments and a limited slip differential included as well, for good measure. Not much is known about the show car. It appears from what I've read it went on to private ownership, and if you are the owner of this car, drop a comment below and let us know exactly what you're doing with it, and I'd love to have a look at it myself as well. As we all know, the halo car of the MG Z lineup was the MG ZT 260, but ProDrive, who developed this in collaboration with MG Rover, were originally given 2 distinct performance levels for the MG ZT. The core version, which we all know, the 260, and the extreme version, the 385 brake horsepower, more usable version of the MG ZT 500 concept. The prototype car developed 385 brake horsepower using a supercharged 4.6 litre V8 engine. The ZT 500, also known as the MG X500, was used at the MG ZT launch in its original configuration. It was then repainted in Typhoon and became the X385 Mark I and did a few more shows, including one with the MG X80, the predecessor to the X-Power SV. The car then got converted again to a Mark II and was resprayed again and configured as a touring car to showcase the MG range's racing pedigree. The car in question was still the original X500 concept. This was then rescued by the MG Owners Club and restored to its original configuration. There were also rumours of a 385 ZTT being produced as a one-off for one of the directors without its signature body kit. However, I can't verify that claim, there's only one article about it. So the car in question, the X500 prototype, this is the only known 385 ZT in existence. The original plan for this car, of course, was to launch in late 2003 alongside the 260, completing the range as the ZT 385. This car was even supposed to be created as a racing variant and entered in the DTM racing. The project was then completely crazy and sadly was abandoned in favour of just the 260 model. But this is what makes these MG Halo cars so special, the incredible story behind them. One of the most special Rover 75s in existence is S525 OVP. This car is a pre-production Rover 75 produced at Rover Oxford, or the Cowley plant as it's more commonly known. It's a 1.8 classic saloon painted in Old English white. And you may be thinking, that sounds like a relatively ordinary pre-production or very early Rover 75, but OVP has had an interesting life. First appearing in 1999 in a technical training video for dealership technicians, OVP was used as the demonstrator car. The car was also, apparently, although not confirmed, to have attended the Rover 75 launch event at Tower Bridge in London. OVP later went on to have a promising TV career in Murphy's Law as a Met Police car in 2001. It then appeared again during 2 episodes of Silent Witness on BBC One, The car then appeared in several other shows, and if you'd like a full video on this car, let me know. I'd love it if the club would let me have a look at this car and let me do a video on it, because it is a fantastic and absolute cracking story. But I'll summarise it as briefly as I can here on this absolutely amazing Rover 75. After its many TV appearances, OVP was used around Longbridge, earning its keep as a site ambulance and security car. When MG Rover collapsed and MG Motor was formed to take over the plant, OVP was spotted again, stripped of its decals and turned into a ZT. Then this appears to, judging by the forum post, sort of a way to remove Rover from the plant, so trying to sort of MG wash the entire Longbridge plant. The car was then neglected until August 2009, when a group of club members bought her from the factory. She was sadly in a very sorry state and was due to be crushed. The club then lovingly restored her to her original specifications, and the car is still in the ownership of the 75 and ZT club to this day, being preserved for the future. The MG X80 was a design concept and a halo car for MG, supposedly to replace the RV8 as the V8 headliner of the MG range. The X80 appeared to resemble a TF and a ZT put together. Originally an evolution of the Mangusta, which MG Rover purchased the rights to in 2001, the concept debuted at the 2001 Frankfurt Auto Show and was supposed to be a 2+2 coupe. In September of that year, it was leaked that MG had a secret supercar in the making. Autocar had the scoop in their September issue. They'd seen the X80 coupe apparently on the roads. This car later became the MG X-Power SV. The X80 sadly appears to have been crushed, and it appears to have just been a fiberglass mock-up. There are no other known details. However, it lives on in the TF and SV it later became. In 2002, MG Rover engaged with young British fashion designer Matthew Williamson. This was to create one of the most fantastic looking Rovers I have ever seen, and let me know your opinion, because I absolutely love this thing. And if you know where this thing is, please let me know, because I'd love to see it in person. This, my friends, is the Rover 25 art car. This was unveiled in 2002 in February to try and drive the attention of younger, more fashion conscious motorists towards the Rover 25. An incredible just feat of design. It was conceived to coincide with the 2002 London Fashion Week, and apologies for the drop in professionalism, but I think this thing is utterly fantastic. It had a completely bespoke interior design. It had those pink accents. It was just a fantastic car. Kind of reminds me of the Millennium Edition Rover 25. And it just looks incredible. Apparently, this car was registered as a BP51 UBP and was spotted in York. This, however, was last posted in 2014, and there is no known location of this car. And if you know where this is, gosh damn, please get in touch, because this is my dream. I love this car to pieces. I mean, look at the rugs, look at the carpets. It's insane. Oh, I love it so good. It's an incredible car, and I would love to see it in person, because my word, it's the dream. I love Rover 25s, but here we are anyway. Well, we'll stop ranting and we'll get onto the more important things. And that, my friends, is the end of the video. I hope you really enjoyed this one. I'll be covering more in my next one, and projects to return this Sunday, because I've changed my schedule, unfortunately. So yeah, thank God the weather's cleared up. So my favourite of this one, it has to be the MGF Super Sport, the Super Sport 2, the more palatable road going version, if we were to discount the 25 art car, obviously, because that's an unfair competition there. Obviously, this would have been an absolute cracking car. There's insane car, and I just think it would have been one of those things that was just mental, absolutely crazy. But sadly, I believe at the time BMW were releasing their Z3 or Z4, so they didn't want a direct competitor or something that outshined it. It does, however, slightly live on is the SP MGF Cheetah, which is a fantastic car in itself. And my gosh, I'd love to see one of those in person as well. So, thank you everybody for watching. Let me know your favourites in the comments. And that is the end of this one. Thank you for watching. Keep watching and remember to subscribe for more of this and more other stuff.